part 4 of the video. I apologize for this subject being extremely long, but if you have a chance, please watch this video repetitively so you can understand it one by one. This subject can take for many weeks, probably months or even years, because this is dealing with the history of mankind, what was happening. But like I was saying, what's so miraculous of planet Venus associated with these goddesses? Like I was saying about the pentagram, this is how it connects. The pentagram is a 5-pointed star associated with Wicca, ritual magic, Satanism, and even it can go found to ancient Babylonia. This 5-pointed star was copied from the star-shaped pattern formed by travels of planet Venus. Same shape as the planet Venus. Don't you see that? Pentacle, Venus, same thing attributed to the goddess who is also known as one and the same thing. Now, where was I? Planet Venus. For instance, all these deities were actually just one goddess, and she was associated with planet Venus. Most had phonetic language roots in the transliterating aspects of name Ishtar, and this remained so until the Greeks changed the name Aphrodite. Later the Romans referred to her as in Latin, initially as Libertas, and later as Venus, where they accepted more than just the liberty doctrine, which is very sick. Very sick. So, which means mankind has the freedom to do anything they want. Anything, even the worst things that you can think of. Ishtar was introduced to the Greeks as Astarte. Through the Phoenicians, we can see that the lineage of the Greek and Roman goddess of the planet Venus goes all the way to ancient Babylon of around 3000 BC. Same time when the magic was introduced to Babylon by angels Harut and Marut, saying that this is a test from you. That if you go with this thing, you can be tried. This is a trial for you. And guess what? They don't care. They want to do whatever they want. So guess what happened? They go into hell for it. And apparently, the Greeks and later the Romans chose to initially honor only one portion of Ishtar's character and doctrines that appealed to them. In those very early years, before established empires, Ishtar's doctrine of personal freedom was really impressed by the Greeks and the Romans. They therefore could choose to worship just that aspect of her character. As time passed and the succeeding generation of Greeks found the other Ishtar doctrines to be appealing and incorporated her into their pantheon of deities. As Astarte or Aphrodite, later still the Romans did the same and referred to her as Venus. It seemed that the allure of Ishtar was her doctrine of holy sex, or salvation by holy sexual relations with temple priestess or priest, as a means of purification and holiness. Can you believe this, how they purified themselves? By going through these horrific things, disgusting things. Can you believe the society at that time? It's shocking. Of course, this entailed paying the priestess or the priest, and thus it was officially, listen to these words, it was officially sanctioned and therefore holy prostitution. So guess what happened? This term prostitution, Ishtar introduced the whole concept to the human race first. That's where it first started, according to this report. This is why she was referred to as the mother of harlots. Harlots had been deemed the social outcasts, so she was also referred to as the mother of exiles. This was later equated with the idea of immigration. Naturally, then Ishtar, aka also known as Libertas, was known as the mother of harlots, the mother of exiles, and the mother of immigrants through not only Babylon and Babylonia, but also Assyria, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Assyria, Egypt, Greece, and Rome. What was Ishtar's legacy in Babylon? She was the chief goddess of Babylon and all of the Babylonia. There was no other goddess more honored than her. She was even equated to have nearly the same power as the chief goddess of Babylon, the sun god Utu, also known as Shamash. In later years, the chief male deities would flip-flop in popularity. The most famous and prominent during the times of Israel's nationhood was Baal. Baal was also called Marduk or Morodech and Bel. Baal was identified with the planet Mars and was called the god of war. His name meant Lord of Air. For his superior powers and supremacy of the air, it was claimed that he was, as well as Ishtar and all of the other deities, flew among and from the stars in the heaven. Ishtar was a multifaceted deity. She was first the foremost endeared to the hearts and minds of the Babylonians because of primary dedication to freedom and liberty. She was also considered the mother of prostitution and harlotry, and it was considered holy. Can you believe that? Prostitution committed holy? Shaitan just deceived these people full swing. Shaitan been boxing their heads back and forth, and these people can't even see. You know why? When you go with Islam, you find peace. But anytime you go with Shaitan, always something dealing with horrific or disgusting terms. Indecency. Why Ishtar introduced the concept of removal of sins? By the practice of sinner engaging in the holy rite of sexual relations with the priestess or priest. This action would involve payment of money to the priestess or priest as part of the cleansing process. It was an offering of thanksgiving for the purification. This is the first instance of prostitution in human history. Repeated, repeated, repeated. Ishtar was also known as the goddess of war because she fights for freedom and liberty. She was also known as the goddess of victory because there is no freedom without victory. She was also known as the goddess of love because of her sexual and her promotion of all types of sexual perversions in the name of freedom. Her motto was, if it feels good, do it. Then we hear that same idea as a theme song in 1960s. She was also a goddess of the planet Venus. She was a goddess who flew among the stars, and so therefore was called the Queen of Heaven or Lady of Heaven. You mean the Queen of Hell? In joke. She is really devilish. Now Sitchin. Sitchin is one of the only handful of scholars who have been able to learn and translate the cuneiform tablet writings of Sumerian Babylonians. He has written numerous books detailing various aspects of culture and writing of summer. In his book, Divine Encounters, he describes a significant role that Ishtar held for the Sumerian. On page 174 to 176, he describes the annual ritual in which the king of summer must come to a special chamber temple for Ishtar to engage in sexual relations with her for one night of passion. If during the night she is pleased, she kills him, and a new candidate is selected to go the same process. He must perform satisfactorily in order to be the king of that place, or to rule for one more year. If the king or candidate found acceptance, he would appear the following morning to the expectant crowds outside the temple palace to show that he had gained favor from the goddess to rule for one more year. Such acceptance also meant that the nation would have a good year of agricultural harvest. Sitchin also notes that the biblical references to the daughters of Babylon always refer to the Ishtar of Babylon. She was the mother of harlots and also the daughter of Babylon. This seems like a dichotomy of sorts, but Ishtar was